Okay, it's the end of the session. I'm here with Lightning. He's off camera. He's licking a lick mat, which is a wonderful thing to give dogs to keep them preoccupied, and also releases endorphins, makes them feel very good with whatever's going on at the time. This is Lightning's roadmap to success. So basically, Lightning is an intact Rottweiler Lab mix, and he has the energy of a young Lab. And so I strongly recommend that the guardians have him neutered, not just because I think it's related to his excitement, his jumping, his invading people's personal space, his territorial, his marking, his jealousy. There's a lot of contributing factors. Neutering him will not take care of his problems. The stuff I'm going to talk about in here will take care of his problems, but neutering him will make him a lot easier to take care of his problems. It will also slow him down. He is doing everything. I mean, he's panting like crazy. He's running around. He's like a shark. He's just constantly on the move. We need to sometimes have a break. Corona has actually been good for that because a lot of people have been forced to shut their life down and reevaluate and kind of be facing reality about certain things. And sometimes that's helpful. So he's a great dog. I haven't seen any aggression from him, but I think that neutering will definitely help. But exercise, supremely important. Now there's physical exercise and then mental stimulation. So I would like Lightning's guardian to start an exercise journal. A new piece of paper at the beginning of the day, write the date at the top, and then write there's 3 dogs in the house, each dog's name, and then write the times on the left side. So you write the time and how many times he did the doggy stairmaster, or the number of repetitions of the doggy stairmaster, the time and how long his walk was, the time and the number of fetches, the time and the length of time that you did scent games, whatever it is. And so at the end, and we also write if he growled at somebody, or if he barked at the window, or whatever, he ate at this time. Anything that he does that's notable should be added in here. At the end of the day, we want to give each dog a letter grade, A through F, and different grades for each dog. And if Lightning gets anything other than an A, the next day we should give him more exercise or more mental stimulation, either by increasing the number of repetitions or by increasing the number of actual exercises themselves. So some of the things that we did for physical exercise include, going for sniff walks. Most people don't realize that dogs burn more energy on a walk by sniffing than they do from walking. So if we take him out on a sniff walk and let him walk however much time you have, I'd like him to be getting at least 2 or 3 walks a day. And I know sometimes that's harder said than done. If we exercise him first, give him time to recover, then take him out for the walk, we've set him up for success, and now he's practicing being on a walk, not paying attention to us and not being so crazy. So before we get to the sniff walk, I went over the doggy stairmaster, throwing treats up and down the stairs. Now remember, if he starts limping or if he shows any sign, this is a repetitive activity, so it's not ideal. But in this case, he needs to burn this energy more than anything else, so I'm willing to trade it off. But I would rather him get his exercise through other means. So for the doggy stairmaster, show me how to treat. Careful he doesn't grab that. Like there. There you go. Are we still rolling? Okay. And so basically, show me how to treat. While he's looking at you, throw it to the bottom of the stairs. He runs down the stairs and licks it up. Say your marker word, nice, when he gets down there. Then show him you have another treat. He runs to the top of the stairs. Count that as 1. Each down up is 1 repetition. If it's dark or there's a lot of stuff, make sure you police stuff at the bottom of the steps. And some people will go get a piece of carpet like that's white. So when you throw the treat on, it's easy to see. So basically, the first time I do it with an empty stomach, and make sure all exercise is done with an empty stomach. But for him, what we want to do is figure out what his maximum number of repetitions is. So basically, we're going to throw it treats up and down the stairs, or down the stairs specifically, and keep doing that until Lightning's like, are you crazy? I've been down there 55 times. I'm not going to do it anymore. Now we know what his maximum number is. We want to exercise about 50 to 75% of whatever that maximum number is. And what you're going to find is different amount of exercise are suitable for different activities. Like, let's say that one of the babies is going down for a nap, and we need to make sure he's calm and quiet. Maybe he needs a 35 up and downs on the stairs for that. Or if we have a guest come over, maybe he only needs 15 up and downs on the stairs. So you're going to find there's different amount of exercise for different activities. Nice. All right, so that's the doggy stairmaster. Another one that you can do is scent games. And I'd like you to Google scent games because there's a lot of different variants of it. I'm going to show you one that's called Cookie in the Corner. What you do is you would hold onto his collar and make sure the kids or nobody else is around. Show him you have a treat. Actually, I'll go ahead and do it this way. So I'm going to hold his collar, show him I have a treat, and I'm going to roll it that way and say hunt or search. Well, actually, that was a bad one. I rolled it out of your way, didn't I? So I'm going to say hunt as I throw the treat. And he's not going to be on the leash at this point. And I'm going to throw it in a corner, Cookie in the corner. And he goes and licks it up. As soon as he licks it up, say your nice word. Then call him back to you, grab his collar. Now have 2 treats. Show him, touch his nose, and when he's looking that direction, throw him on the ground. And when he licks each one up, say, nice, nice. Keep on doing this until you're throwing about 5 treats. And each time you're doing this, you're saying hunt or search or find it or whatever the command cue is. And gets a treat just right outside his reach. I might have to get for him. And so we're assigning a cue. So eventually we can come in, we can put him outside and hide 5 treats in that corner, and then bring him in and say hunt. And he's like, oh my God, there's 5 treats. And he goes and he sniffs and he's using his nose. For dogs, using their nose is very draining, stimulating, and relaxing and rewarding. So if he's using his nose to search for these treats, we're burning energy. We're also helping him feel comfortable and relaxed. So look at Google, but also Google scent games, because there's a lot of different scent games you can do. Using his nose is a great way for him to get exercise without us having to get the exercise. Doggy Stairmaster, I would like you to also get a snuffle mat. Actually, I'd get one for each, at least 2 of the dogs. One of them is an older dog. Right now, the Guardians are free feeding. They're leaving the food in the bowl until the dog eats it. Problem is, we have a couple of young kids in the house. They're going over and messing with the food bowls. Also, they might go over to a dog when it's eating. And a dog should be, when it's being eating or has a bone, should be left alone, or if it's asleep. So we need to create a safe place for the dogs to be where the kids cannot get to. And so we have baby gates up. A lot of times we think about it for the dogs. Sometimes it's for the kids. So the dog can go and hang out. Dogs have a fight or flight response. So if I can't get away because there's no exit points, I might have to nip the child to get it to back off. Now it's up to us as guardians to make sure that when the dog has a bone or a bully stick or a lick mat or is eating its food or whatever, we're making sure that the kids are not around. Leaving food in the bowl all the time also takes away, makes that impossible, and it also takes away some impetus. For dogs, eating is a very important activity. So one of the guardians here who actually purchased Lightning for the other guardian is the one that he's nipped at a couple times. There's an expression, don't bite the hand that nip feeds you, comes from this exercise. What I'd like you to do is grab a handful of food and feed it to him by hand. Every meal for a week. I'd like him to be fed 2 or 3 times a week. 3 times a day, not a week. And so, and a little handful, and so say nice when he starts licking it up. And so now he's getting used to you being the provider of food. That makes you a lot more important to him. Also, the food is not available at all times. This will help with pottying and accidents because the digestive tract is pretty consistent. But also, it makes it, when you provide the food, a more important thing. Now, when you get to that point when they start getting excited for the food, please message me back. I have a video on something called the bucket game that I'll send you that will teach him to develop a little impulse control, all the dogs, to sit there as you lower the bowl down to the ground, and they have to sit and wait for you to give them permission to eat their food. These dogs need practice at restraining themselves. I really have only seen Lightning, but I'm guessing the other 2 in the same boat as well. We're not going to do that through an exercise. We're going to try to do that through a whole lot of little exercises that happen more frequently. Feeding we do 3 times a day, so if we do that, that's a great opportunity to do it. Now let me back up a little bit because we're talking about physical exercise. Doggy Stairmaster, fetch. Another great one is tug of war. Get a rope and let him tug on it and pull, pull, pull. And as soon as he starts getting pretty intense, pull out a treat, touch his nose with the treat, and as soon as he drops, say nice, and pop that treat in his mouth. I gotta give him a treat because he's just right out of your reach, isn't it, buddy? So the idea for that is tugging and pulling is a great way to burn energy. We don't have to run with him. And then when he starts to get too energetic, we don't want him to practice that. So we pull out a treat, touch his nose. It's going to cause him to drop it because he's just going to need his mouth open to get the treat. So we say nice for dropping, or we're teaching him dropping things is a good thing. It gets you a reward. And so that's a nice way to burn energy. Also walks are good for burning energy. But there's also, and the cookie in the corner, that's more scent games. That's more mental stimulation. So I'd like the guardians to get snuffle mats and start feeding them after we do the hand feeding for a week. Start feeding them out of a snuffle mat. Now, when they're eating, I would probably feed the dogs one at a time. And as soon as they walk away, we pick up the snuffle mat and dump the things out of it. And I'd get a snuffle mat for each of the 2 younger dogs. And then the 3rd dog, I'd probably let the older dog eat first out of a bowl, and the other 2 dogs are not allowed to be in the room. And if you have to, just put the other 2 dogs outside, bring the old dog in, let him eat first so he's not being sweated by the other dogs. Then he goes outside, bring the other 2 dogs in there, and have them wait for the snuffle mat. If you have problems with that, let me know. I can go over an exercise and show you how to teach them to stay on their dog bed. Let me see, what else? There's a lot of treat dispensing toys and puzzles. If a dog has to work for its food, it is distracted, it is burning some energy, and it boosts their confidence because they're earning that food on their own. I like one called an Omega Paw treat ball. Don't leave it out once all the food is gone. But they also have all sorts of puzzles and different, look like UFOs and different stuff like that. Giving him something to do and making him work for his food is a nice way to distract him. I also got a lick mat, and I gave the Guardians a lick mat. You can get a couple of those. I would use them for your grooming business. The Guardians here have a great grooming business. But basically smothering that sucker with peanut butter when the kids are eating a snack. Give the dog something else to do. We call it a replacement behavior. It's not really a replacement behavior, this is a replacement activity. But he's licking the lick mat, the kid's on the other side of the room, the dog is occupied, the kids are occupied. The dog is not sweating the kids for their food, kids are not hassling the dog for, it's a multiple, we're putting both of them in position to succeed. So the idea is to alternate exercise, mental stimulation, exercise, mental stimulation. Sometimes for him, probably about every 1.5 to 3 hours, somewhere in that range. But that's why that exercise journal will help. You keep that for about a week or two. And after a while, you'll figure out what the intervals are, how much exercise he needs, what activities do well, the number of repetitions for each activity based on what happens afterwards. And now you know the roadmap of what we need to do to put Lightning in a position to succeed. All right, so we also talked about the importance of rules and structure. He doesn't really have any rules. And in terms of structure, he gets to get petted whenever he wants. He kind of gets what he wants. So he doesn't really have any motivation. So I want the Guardians to start enforcing some rules, like not letting him in the kitchen when they're preparing food, or not letting him around the kids when they're eating food, or around humans who are eating food. Now, the best way to do this is have a dog bed. And so what I would do is put a dog bed maybe right in front of the TV. And I would probably have this with one dog at a time. And the kid's eating a snack here. The dog comes towards you, you throw a treat on the dog bed. He goes and gets the treat, he turns around, as soon as he steps up, throw another treat. Steps off, throw another treat. And say nice every time he steps on the dog bed. You might do this 20, 30, 40 treats in a row. After a while, you're going to find he's going to linger or stay on the dog bed. And then you can start practicing having him stay there for progressively longer and longer and longer, to the point where he sits on the dog bed while you guys eat a meal. He sits on the dog bed while you watch TV or whatever it is. And so now he's practicing some self-control. He's a big dog. We need him to be doing the work. And the more activities we set up like this, by enforcing rules, helps us look like leaders without dominating or anything like that, but also helps him practice self-restraint, self-control. We're doing it without any force, punishment-free. Let me see. Other rules, let me see. I like the Guardians to use Premax as well. Premax means a less desirable behavior earns me a more desirable behavior. When I was a little kid, my mom would say, David, as soon as you finish your chores, you can play with your friends. That's a Premax. So if I do something that she wants, I get something that I want. So I'd like the Guardians to use this, especially for letting him outside the door. Go to the door with only one dog in the room at a time and say, sit. He has 2 seconds to sit. If he doesn't sit by the second, walk away, sit down, do your nails, watch TV, check your phone or whatever, wait 1 minute. After 1 minute, go back to the door and tell him again, sit. If he sits within 2 seconds, open the door and let him out. Do not repeat the command cue. The more you say it, the less you mean it. So say it once. If he does it within 2 seconds, he gets what he wants. Access the outside. If he doesn't, then you close the door and then you wait for 2 minutes. Then you wait for 4 minutes. Then you wait for 8 minutes. So keep on double length of time each time. But as soon as he sits, open that door. You can do the same sort of thing with all sorts of activities. Sitting before you feed him his food. Sitting before you give him a bully stick. Sitting before you invite him on the couch or whatever the case may be. Sitting is a way for dogs to really saying please or thank you. So if you can get him conditioned to sit before he gets what he wants, he's not jumping at you, he's not pawing you, he's practicing listening to you, he's practicing basic obedience, he's practicing being respectful. It's really beneficial in many, many, many ways. We also saw that he got very excited. Now the exercise that's in the video above this is a breakdown of what I want you to do. Picking up the leash causes him to go bananas because the only time the Guardian picks up the leash is when he's taken for a walk. That's a classically conditioned response. So what I'd like you to do when you're watching TV and he's pretty chill like he is now, walk over to where a leash is, and if he gets excited when you walk over, don't even pick it up. Just walk. Do the same thing that we did in the video above, small steps. Walk towards it. As soon as you get excited, turn around and walk back and sit back down on the couch. Don't say no, or you ruined it, buddy, nothing. Because you're not going to take him for a walk anyways. Don't do this when you're taking him for a walk. Do this any other time. So after a while, you get to the point where you walk to where the leash is and he stays calm. Then you reach for it, he gets excited, you pull your arm back and go sit back down. Wait for him to calm down before you do it again. So try to do this multiple times throughout the day. At first it'll be walking towards it, then it'll be reaching for it, then eventually it'll be touching it, then it'll eventually be holding it up, then it'll be leaning it towards him, and at any point he gets excited, we put it back, we go back to what we were doing, and then the activity's over. Again, exercising him before we do these things or doing it when he's nice and calm will really help. Do this not just for the leash, anything that he gets excited about. Excited is not the same thing as happy when it comes to dogs, and most of us get our dogs all jacked up because we see them with the mouth open, we interpret that as a smile. but it's really they're excited, they're trying to breathe heavy. And so we get them more and more worked up. But if I'm going to have surgery, the last thing I want my surgeon to be is excited. I want her to be calm and focused and listening to paying attention to what she's going to cut open. So for dogs, it's the same principle. That's why the exercise is so important. That's why the structure is so important. That's why having him practice self-restraint, in his case, is so important. And again, neutering him will affect all of those things and amplify all those things in a good way if we get him neutered, or it's going to make it harder if we don't. Let me see. We also talked about petting with a purpose and passive training. Petting with a purpose is if you want to pet the dog or the dog is demanding attention from you. So if he was coming up and invading people's personal space and they were petting him, any attention is validated. So even if I say, "Lightning, damn it, get away," that's still validated. So if he comes up to me and does something I don't want, I just lean back and disengage. Actually, first thing I would do is if he comes and nudges me, I would try to pet with a purpose. Tell him to sit. If he's already sitting, tell him to sit here, or tell him to lie down. Do not tell him to shake. If he sits within that 2 seconds of you saying it, as soon as he sits, say your marker word, "nice," and then reach over and pet him as much or as little as you want. If you get done petting him and then he nudges you again, repeat it. If he does it a third time, what is he saying? "I have too much energy right now. I'm bored. Give me something to do." Take him for a short walk, play fetch, do the doggy stairmaster. As long as there's no food in his belly. He shouldn't be exercising until 90 minutes after he's eaten. It's dangerous for dogs to eat exercise with food in their belly. So after a while, he's going to figure out, if I tell the humans what to do by nudging at them or pawing at them or jumping up on them, they don't do anything. They become boring. But if they tell me to sit and I sit, they immediately pet me. My goal as a dog is to get attention. And I don't really care so much if it's good, positive attention or negative attention for doing the wrong thing. But as humans, we are consistent about correcting the dog for the wrong thing and inconsistent when they do the thing that we want, which will be the next thing I'm going to talk about, capturing or passive training. But right now, if he wants attention from you, you tell him to do something. If he does what you want him to do, he gets the attention. If he doesn't, you disengage and he gets nothing. No punishment, no correction, nada. After a while, he'll start sitting in front of you to prepay for attention. When he does that, you bet your butt, you better start petting him. Now, I also want you to watch word of paycheck. So if I'm petting Lightning, he's standing, one of his guardians comes up and stands at the door and says, "David, paycheck." That means they're saying, "David, I think you forgot to ask Lightning to do something because he appears to be standing." So even if I did it right, I would stop petting. I would say, "Lightning, sit." If he sits, I would pet him on his chin, say, "Sit." I would say, "Actually, guardian, I asked him to sit, but when you opened the door, he stood up because he was excited, but I continued to pet him, but I did pet with a purpose. Thank you for reminding me." So it's never a correction. Even if you did it right, stop, because you have another opportunity to practice it again. And to answer and the other thing is, even if you want to pet him, tell him to sit. If he doesn't sit, he doesn't deserve your attention. He's a dog, we love him, we're going to do that, but we need to create motivation for him to listen to us, and we're not going to use any punishment, we're going to use positive reinforcement. So he does what we want, he gets a reward. He does anything else, nothing happens. It's not going to take him long before he wants to get that attention by doing the things that you want, like we talked about earlier. Now, we also want to recapture, this is the first time he's chilled out the whole time. Capturing, or passive training is what I like to call it, is rewarding the dog when it does the thing that you want him to do on his own. Most of the time, like I said, the dog jumps up, it barks, it bites, it digs, it pies in the house. That we say no to. It comes to us, we ignore it. It sits in front of us, we ignore it. It lays down at our feet, we ignore it. But those are things that we do want, we just didn't want them to do at the time. But if your kid goes in your potty training and uses the bathroom and you don't say anything to them about it, they're less likely to do it. We actually literally did an exercise here where the child was trying to grab stuff and throw it all over the place. And what I did is I was like, let's try to put the stuff back in the original position. Every time the child did, we said, "Yay!" Well, the child went and grabbed another coaster and did it, and got another yay, and then grabbed another coaster and did it. Now the child is motivated to do the thing that we want because it's getting our attention. So every time that Lightning or the other dogs come to you, sits in front of you, lays down, drops a ball, goes potty, goes to the dog bed, whatever it is, that it's an activity you want and you didn't ask for, make sure you give them attention by marking it and petting them. Remember, you only have 2 seconds. So if somebody comes in the room and sees that Lightning comes over and lays down next to me and I missed it, they say, "David, celebrate." It means, "David, you're missing an opportunity to reward him for doing something you want." So I say, "Celebrate." I stop what I'm doing. I say, "Yes." Or in his case, "Nice." So somebody, "Celebrate, nice." And I just start petting him. After a while, I'm going to start recognizing he's coming towards me. Well, he's coming to me. I didn't ask him to, but it's still a cue that I like. So when he comes to me, yes, when he gets here, and I pet him. So coming to David is a good thing. It gets me a reward. Sitting in front of David gets me a reward. Laying down at David's feet gets me a reward. Dropping the ball gets me a reward. Potty training, same principle. So when you're outside, what I would recommend is because he pees in the house. Part of it is marking, but part of it is not. So every time he goes outside, make sure that he's the only dog. Remember, the 3 times he's likely to go is right after waking up, 3 minutes after eating, and 10 minutes after playtime. So he starts roughhousing with the dogs. Set a timer, and in about 7 minutes, take him outside by himself. Have a high-value treat with you. As soon as he starts to pee or poop, say nice in a normal tone of voice. They hear inflection, so don't say nice. He's going to stop peeing and come to you. So nice. When he gets done, give him that treat. And after a while, you'll start to recognize he's doing the figure eights, or he's doing the dance, or his butt looks like he's going to poop. When you know your dog, you're about 90% certain your dog's going to do the action, that's when you can start incorporating the cue or the command word. So if I want to teach him that business means to go potty, when I take him outside and I see him doing figure eights, I'm going to say, oh, he's getting ready to potty. So I'd say business, that's the word I want him to use, and then within a couple seconds he starts to potty. I say nice. When he gets done, I give him the treat. After a while, when I say business and he goes out and potties, I don't have to say nice anymore. They'll overlap for a little while, but eventually I say potty, he goes and pees, and then after he gets done, I give him a treat. We want him to think, this urine stuff is valuable. If I let it go in the house, nothing happens. We don't correct it, I get ignored. But as soon as I pee outside, my guardians are weirdos. I pee outside, and they say nice, and then I get a reward. And after doing that long enough, about a month, he's going to start going to the door saying, I want to go outside and potty so you can pay me and reward me for doing the thing that you want. So the 2 watchwords. If I say paycheck to someone, that means I suspect you are petting the dog for the wrong reason or without realizing it, or you forgot to ask the dog for it. Celebrate means the dog just did something and you missed it. Celebrate, right there. He laid down at my feet. I didn't ask him to do it, but within 2 seconds of doing it, I said nice, and I petted him. I actually said celebrate. I should have said nice. You only want to say the command cue before the action. So the more that you pet him for sitting, coming, laying down, dropping his ball, and all the rest of that, that's what he's going to start doing to get your attention. And if he does the thing you don't want, we're going to ignore it or use the positive interrupter. Let's see if I can do it right here. See how I got his attention? I don't know if you can see him in the shot. No, you can't see the shot. But basically, the positive interrupter is either going to say beep, 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 beep. There we go. Or I can make the long kissing sound. So if he goes over and he's sniffing something he's not supposed to sniff, if I say, no, bad dog, stop that, that makes that for forbidden fruit. But if he starts licking, I say, and he turns around and he looks at me and looks like I have a treat, he runs over to me, I say nice and give him a treat, I'm rewarding him for coming to me. And I distracted him from whatever he was doing. Now if he goes back and does it a second time or a third time, again, he's telling me I'm bored or I need some exercise. So take him out for a walk, play Doggy Stairmaster, give him a treat dispensing toy or a Kong filled with peanut butter. Get a bunch of those. Black Kongs are stronger than red. And put peanut butter in them, and after giving the dogs the peanut butter ones for 2 or 3 occurrences, start putting them in the freezer. That will make it harder to get the peanut butter. It takes them longer for him to do it. Same thing with the lick mat. Let me see, what else? We went over marker word. So the marker word is you say it the instant he does the thing you want. You tell him to sit. As soon as his butt hits the ground, you say yes, excuse me, nice, then give him a treat. Tell him to lay down. As soon as, or I say crash is the word I use. So as soon as I say crash, my dog's chest hits the ground, I say nice, and I give him a pet or a reward or a treat. So make a list of the things that he does that you like. Dropping things, coming to us, sitting, laying down, and potty training to start. But after a while, you can do it for, you can do it every time he drinks water. Say nice. And after a while, he walks through the water and you say agua, or whatever, the water, and then he drinks, say nice. And eventually teach him to go drink water on cue. I taught my dogs to stretch this way. Every time they stretch, I would say nice. And then after a while, I saw they were about to do it, so I'd say stretch, and they would do this. I'd say nice, and then I'd give them a reward. Now I can get them to do it on cue and on command. Another thing that is draining of energy is training a dog. I've got a bunch of training videos. If you want some training videos, message me and I'll be happy to send links to them. Go to YouTube. Just be careful. There's a lot of what's called force and punishment or balanced trainers. They use a lot of force and punishment, and that a dog that, like him, if he gets frustrated, he's going to probably go more towards the aggressive realm, which we don't want. He's already done a little bit of that. So we want to make sure we're completely positive and force-free. So if there's any exercises or things that you want to do, teach him, run it by me if you're not sure, and I'll tell you whether or not it's a good one or not. One of the things I'd like to see the guardians do is try to set a goal for each week for the next 2 months. We're going to teach him a new trick. So I'm going to teach him to roll over. So once you look up a video, if you can't find it, message me, I'll send you one. And then all week long, teach him roll over for this, roll over for that, roll over here, roll over there. And again, short 1 to 2 minute practice sessions, always ending on a good note. By the end of the week, you say roll, and he's already rolling over. So now you have a new cue. a new way to distract him, a way to burn energy, a way for him to have more respect for you as a guardian because you're the part of the person that taught him whatever that thing is. The next week, the next guardian takes over and teaches him maybe bang your day. And then once he masters that, we work on that all week. You do this for 2 months. At the end of 2 months, you have 8 new cues. Dogs that have learned 10 different cues or commands reach a certain level of confidence. And you have now 8 or 10 different things that you can do to distract him. And the training itself burns energy. So it'd be nice if you could try to train him 2 or 3 times a day in short 2 or 3 minute sessions. So at the end of the day, it's like less than 10 minutes. But now you're teaching the dog and giving him a skill that will boost his self-esteem and confidence, increases respect for you as guardians, give you ways to distract him, drain some energy. It really accomplishes multiple things all at the same time. Let me think. The video above kind of talks about the counterconditioning. The key thing for that, he's got to be non-reactive. If he's barking or lunging or whining or whimpering or any of that stuff, we're moving too fast. Back up to a previous level of success, back up 2 steps if you have to. Keep going back until you find a level. And it's okay. One day he may make 3 steps. You might have to next time take 2 steps backwards. That's okay. It's an ebb and flow. We're not looking to win a sprint. This is a marathon race. So we're going to keep on keeping on and gradually build a little bit more and a little bit more, and eventually you'll see progress. Is there anything else you want me to go over? All right, well, let me see if we can do this. Come here, buddy. Oh, yes, you got your bone. Lightning, come here. Lightning, come here, dear. Lightning, come here, buddy. Let's show everybody how handsome you are. Come here. Lightning, sit. This is my buddy Lightning, and this is his roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.